The war in Ukraine has entered a perilous new phase. Russian President Vladimir Putin has issued a stark warning to the West. He stated that providing Ukraine with long-range weapons would be considered a direct attack on Russia. This raises concerns about a broader conflict. Ukraine seeks advanced weapons from its allies. These missiles could strike deep within Russian territory. Russia has intensified its attacks. NATO faces a critical decision. Stay informed and support efforts for peace. Subscribe to our channel for the latest updates. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has made an impassioned plea to the West. He urgently requests long-range weapons systems. Zelensky argues that these weapons are vital for Ukraine's survival. He insists they are essential for deterring further Russian aggression. Ukraine's request is driven by necessity. Russia has been relentlessly attacking Ukraine's critical infrastructure. This includes power grids, communication networks, and civilian shelters. Long-range weapons would allow Ukraine to strike back. It could target Russian military assets located far from the front lines. Zelensky emphasizes that Ukraine is fighting not just for its own freedom. It is fighting for the security of Europe and the democratic world. He warns that Russia's ambitions extend beyond Ukraine. Failure to stop Putin now will only embolden him further. The Ukrainian people are bearing the brunt of Russia's brutal invasion. They are fighting with incredible courage and determination. However, they need more than just words of support. They need the tools to effectively defend themselves. Now is the time to act. Support Ukraine by urging your leaders to provide the necessary military aid. Stand with Ukraine in its fight for freedom and democracy. Western allies face a complex dilemma. They must support Ukraine's defense while avoiding a wider war with Russia. Providing Ukraine with long-range weapons is a difficult decision. It involves weighing significant risks against potential benefits. Ukraine faces an unprovoked invasion. Providing defense means is essential, but advanced weapons could provoke Putin, leading to a wider conflict. Western leaders must carefully consider this risk. Your voice matters. Stand with Ukraine and advocate for peace. Contact your representatives today. Section 4. NATO's Delicate Balancing Act. NATO is walking a tightrope. The alliance is committed to supporting Ukraine. However, it is equally determined to avoid a direct military confrontation with Russia. Putin's recent threat adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. NATO has significantly increased its military presence in Eastern Europe. This reassures allies and strengthens the alliance's deterrence posture. NATO has also provided Ukraine with billions of dollars in military aid. This includes weapon systems, training, and intelligence sharing. However, NATO has so far drawn a line at providing Ukraine with long-range offensive weapons. These systems could strike deep inside Russian territory. The alliance fears this would be viewed by Moscow as a major escalation. NATO is facing a difficult balancing act. The alliance needs to provide Ukraine with the support it needs to defend itself. At the same time, it must avoid actions that could lead to a catastrophic wider war with Russia. Stay informed and support efforts for peace. Follow us for more updates on this critical issue. Section 5. The high stakes of escalation. The stakes in the Ukraine conflict have never been higher. The possibility of a direct military confrontation between Russia and NATO is a terrifying prospect. Such a conflict would have devastating consequences for all involved. The risks of miscalculation are significant. Mistakes in communication, misinterpretations of intentions, or unintended incidents could quickly escalate the situation. The consequences of a wider war would be catastrophic. The international community must prioritize diplomacy and de-escalation. Channels of communication between Russia and the West must be kept open. Dialogue is essential to reduce tensions and find a peaceful resolution to this conflict. The world is watching this crisis unfold with deep concern. The potential for a wider conflict is real. It is imperative that all sides proceed with caution and prioritize finding a peaceful solution. Join the global call for peace. Support diplomatic efforts and raise your voice for a peaceful resolution. Together, we can make a difference. Section 6. A call for international cooperation. The war in Ukraine is a tragedy for all involved. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating consequences of conflict. The international community must unite in its condemnation of Russia's aggression. Diplomacy and dialogue are the only path to a lasting peace. The international community must work together to facilitate negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. The goal is a ceasefire and a negotiated settlement that respects Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Continued economic pressure on Russia is essential. Sanctions are imposing a heavy cost on the Russian economy. This pressure must be maintained to compel Putin to reconsider his course of action. The war in Ukraine is a global crisis. It requires a global response. Now is the time for unity, diplomacy, and a firm commitment to a peaceful resolution. Join the global effort. Advocate for peace. Stand with Ukraine.